Guyana for decades has been touted as the breadbasket of the Caribbean. However, between 2015 and 2020, the sector ground to a halt.
Audio preview.
After 5 years of neglect, Guyana's agriculture sector is once again booming, and farmers are excited about the future. Since August 2nd, 2020, the Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali administration has been investing heavily in agriculture, breathing a fresh breath of life into the sector.
We are dedicated to ensuring that there is access to safe and nutritious food for everyone.
We are preparing our country as an emerging oil and gas producer. But I want to say from the onset that the agriculture sector in our country is taking the Caribbean by storm.
The Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali-led government has been adamant about the traditional productive sectors like agriculture, fisheries, sugar, and rice, for example, continue to play a significant economic role even as Guyana heads into a future of oil and gas. Through agriculture, His Excellency believes Guyana and the Caribbean region can ensure greater food security. Upon coming into office, the PPPC government began working to ensure the sector was restored from 5 years of perils. Now, the sector is receiving much needed attention and resources for development. Engaging and partnering with farmers are priorities of the PPPC government. After listening to their concerns, government got down to work.
The most burning issue in the agriculture sector is D&I, drainage and irrigation. Wherever you go, people are complaining about the state of affairs of our D&I system. As a government, the Ministry of Agriculture has responsibility through the NDIA, we will continue to work with the various stakeholders. As a matter of fact, we have done thousands of rods of canals and drains since August of last year, right across the country, all the regions in this country.
Drainage and irrigation forms one of the most important pillars of the agriculture sector. As such, one of the first actions undertaken by the government was the restructuring of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, NDIA, to ensure farmers benefit from improved services. Many structures were found outdated and dilapidated. However, the Agriculture Minister was keen to make a change. The authority exhausted its $1.6 billion budget for capital projects, while over $5 billion was spent for recurrent works in 2020. Another $12 billion was made available through the 2021 national budget.
For the past 3 years, this trench never cleaned. This caused the flooding for 2.5 acres. Now, the government or whoever cleaned the trench and have the place dry out nice. I can make no complaint.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars we lost in, right? But I'm glad to the government now that they do something to help us.
The situation before real bad. This section we there over there, you go and the tube in small, where the water got to pass through, and then you go and cross in, and they are poorly maintained. So the minister promised that they go look into the tubing, put a bigger tubing, and clean the grass. Partly clear, real clear good.
Pumps were installed at several flood-prone areas. These include Denamstel, Devonshire Castle, Hope, Morro Point, Rose Hall, Princess Street, Sussex Street, and Coan Street. These small but significant interventions brought immediate relief to scores of residents and farmers across Guyana.
First, I must compliment the Minister of Agriculture. He has visited Prophet Rising Sun 3 times since they're in office. With this administration, I have seen a lot of changes because there's a broad cross-section. Everybody in Prophet Rising Sun now is getting benefit.
Efforts are underway to ensure the country's economy is diversified and food security is assured. Policies and programs have been implemented to promote climate resilient and sustainable production of fruits and vegetables locally.
We must reform our food systems in order to respond to these challenges and seize the opportunities that will arise from the demand for more food. Food security also is central to attainment of many of the Sustainable Development Goals. If the region is to avoid being deterred from attaining the SDGs, it must transform its food systems to ensure greater food security.
To make this a reality for Guyana, the government allocated over $2 billion to the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI. Through this allocation, NARI has been able to restart its agriculture distribution programs to rural and hinterland communities, which were halted by the previous government. Through these programs, hundreds of packets of seeds along with seedlings were distributed to small-scale farmers. Packs of Akushi ants bait were distributed to farmers. The National Fogging Program was resuscitated. The fertilizer distribution program was restarted, and a $335 million farm implement program was launched for regions 1, 8, and 9. Along with restarting these critical programs for small and medium-scale farmers, the government launched its groundbreaking Intermediate Savanna Development Initiatives, a special project aimed at developing the corn and soybean industries in Guyana, which accounts for over 25% or $10 billion of the country's food import bill. $500 million was invested and works have started to provide the necessary infrastructure which could accelerate private investment in corn and soybean production and supporting businesses. From a $45 million trial, which produced yields of up to 2 tons per hectare, Guyana can soon have the potential to supply the Caribbean community with hopes of international expansion. Already, 6 local companies have partnered to undertake this massive project. A significant aspect of government's agriculture development plan is the reopening of sugar estates that were callously closed under the coalition government. It had also committed to rehiring some of the retrenched workers and offering viable opportunities to the others. In the fulfillment of these promises, $10.5 billion has been invested in the Guyana Sugar Corporation over the last 15 months. These funds are to offset critical works as government advances the sector's resuscitation.
First of all, Open Back Sugar Estate provide employment for people who actually been starved. People when they go on the platform, some of them end up crying because they don't know where they will have another meal from. But today they see estate like Kanji. Right now, it's fresh in cane tap from Blemont Estate to care to Enmore Estate to plant. Secure employment for people.
Gaisuku is on a change plan. We're re-engineering the way we're thinking in Gaisuku. The whole vision of Gaisuku right now is to move up the value chain as fast as we can, within the constraints of finances. But in addition to that, in addition to moving up the value chain, we're also opening 3 estates. So it's going up and it's going broader.
As part of the restructuring plans, Gaisuku has reintroduced mechanical harvesting at the Blairmont Sugar Estate to boost its operations. Moreover, the corporation was able to pay almost $900 million to its trade creditors over the past 9 months. About $175 million was paid to the Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union (GAWU) as it honored debts owed to credit unions in the industry.
I'm planting 15 acres of rice in the bushland backland. Where I'm farming, my dam, for the last 5 years, a grader came one time. But since this new government have came into office, in 1 month, he bulldozer 1 time and grade 3 times with a grader.
Since the previous government took office, and start clean trench, and every crop of got some money for clean the drainage trench.
The PPPC government maintains that rice is the government's business and it will work to see the industry flourish. Previously, field men and women were forced to pay increased land and drainage and irrigation fees, putting a heavy burden on their pockets. The Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali-led administration has reversed these charges and restored them to the original rates. The MMA ADA rates were decreased from $15,000 per acre to $3,500 per acre. This single measure placed an average of $1.3 billion immediately back into the hands of farmers in Region 5.
This farming is private business. Be so thankful that, machinery start do the work. Things which they could not have done in 5 years. I see this administration did it in 1 day in this village.
That is excellent that the VAT come off back. But the fee and so on, normally was $2,500, and last year they put in on $1,000 more upon it for $3,500, which is a little hard for you to pay because of the price for the paddy is not there.
The man said that is what they're going to do and this is what they're doing. They're assisting us. The cost on every single thing is down. Fuel is down. Agriculture equipment is down. Parts is down. Land rental for most of these people in the MMA scheme is down. So people will benefit. And that's basically what people need. More money in the pocket, more spending power for the people on the road. They will buy. A man gonna go and buy 2 tractors now. He ain't got to study VAT.
The government is also spearheading the construction of drying floors at strategic rice-producing locations to provide much-needed support to farmers. A soil laboratory will also be established to facilitate efficient and economic production of paddy. Farmers are benefiting from the removal of value-added tax on machinery, equipment, fertilizers, and pesticides, thereby reducing the high production cost. Guyana also secured new rice markets including Hungary and Latvia in Europe, while an additional 24,000 tons of rice is being supplied to Brazil.
At our level, local level, we would have been challenged on many occasions by our board. Thus far, I must say that as an organization, we are on the right track.
The government has also zero-rated the industry. An estimated 3,000 to 5,000 small farmers and broiler producers have benefited from the removal of VAT on key inputs in the poultry industry. Among other great achievements, the Guyana Livestock Development Authority has also received its official certification from the Guyana National Bureau of Standards, bringing it one step closer to offering quality testing and results for the livestock industry. The authority also relaunched its artificial insemination in small ruminants program. Important to the agriculture sector too is the quality of fertilizers being imported. The government has constructed and commissioned a $60.4 million fertilizer testing laboratory.
Today's activity is an identification of the board's commitment to support our developing agriculture sector in Guyana.
The certified facility, which is located at the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, is the first to be established locally and the second within the Caribbean. Additionally, $70 million has been allocated to support the Hope Coconut Estate Limited, while the government will invest $832 million in agricultural infrastructure, including agro-processing and packaging facilities. For the agriculture sector, this is only the beginning. What we have just witnessed is merely part one of a series of features to showcase the efforts being made by the government to spur rapid growth and long-term development as Guyana looks to become a bigger agricultural force in the region and the world. Guyana currently holds lead responsibility for agriculture, agricultural diversification and food security in the CARICOM.